Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You should. The goal is to tell you a little bit about what we have worked with and what is going on around us, which influence us, whether we like it or not. I'm a little bit frustrated about this. I started a blog about 3 months ago. Sorry, I forgot to speak English.
The last 3-4 months, and I'm kind of, when I come back to Norway, because I spend like 120 days a year outside of Norway, I'm kind of frustrated, because I see that, hey, we're not seeing it, we're not seeing it, we're not seeing it. And I'm talking to people, trying to get people to understand what actually needs to happen. And after this day, I hope that you understand that there is a lot of things going on that will affect you if you're a manufacturer, if you're a wholesaler, if you're a contractor, if you're an architect. Things will change, that's for sure. And that is kind of frustrating to see that we're losing momentum in Norway. ProductInfoX, let me just start to talk about that. This is our day-to-day work. This is what we do every day. So in Kobiler, we started off now. We started in the UK. Nick Toon and Pete will talk a little bit about what's happening in the UK. UK is very exciting because that is where they're pushing the hardest. And then other countries is Germany and France, where things are starting to happen now, really happen. And they have structured the way of working, and they have made a plan. And to make a plan takes time. So there is a lot of initiatives in Norway, but there is not a plan. There's a lot of initiatives, but not the digital plan set out by the government to change the industry, to get cheaper, more roads for the same price or more buildings. That's the change we're talking about today. So, what have we done? We've been working with the same consortium now, approximately the same consortium. This consortium, where we work with products, has got some more actors in there, but mostly it's the same actors, and it's very to work with such a consortium with no disturbance is really great. So we've been, as Kari said, delivering ahead of time because it's the business that we do every day. So this is what we are doing with Kobiler every day. So that's why I think that this is easy. So Kobiler, we're Norwegian company founded in 1997, started in the UK only last summer. Starting to pick up momentum there now. Nick can talk a little bit about that later, because there is a huge change there. Now we're starting in France, and our aim is to go outside of Europe in 2017. That is the aim for Kobiler. And we have a company in Bulgaria where we have 50 employees, and we're hiring approximately 3 to 5 people every month now. The ProductInfoX project. We came from a position where you are a contractor. So we had to understand how digitally we could communicate down the value chain. So we had to understand how can this be done. So then in the project, not we, but Morten will talk about what we've done, Morten Berntsen from TI. So I will not go into details on that, but it has been a lot of study to actually understand how the data, how a building, how the relation between a building, a product, a system, a wall, whatever, how is it built up? It's zeros and ones. So it's like the matrix. How is it done? So that is what we've been looking at. And we've been looking at it from the chain's point of view. You have to solve the value chain and the different issues you have in the value chain. So there you go with language. Yeah, there's a lot of things there. So I'll come also back to it. I'm going to talk about something called product data templates, how you can actually set up data requirements for an object and so on. We have to look at a lot of standards. Reading standards, it is not funny, but we do it. So today we have, as we speak, around 15 people reading standards. They are highly educated, and you cannot do errors. Frédéric Grant will talk a little bit about this, how they are doing this in France. And I think what they're doing there is the way to go. We've been translating, so we have people working with translation every day. On the construction site today, if you just, I used to be a carpenter in Norway, then we had Swedes and Danish people coming in, utlänningar, foreigners. That was how it was. Now, it's not like that. So language is an issue. So also we looked at the issues with translations. Will you come into that, Morten, with translations? Yeah, okay. Also, the issue with the manufacturing and manufacturing industry. So we've tried to actually create a process where the value chain can communicate, and that's why I need to go via the standards. So the BIM tools is not doing this today. IFC and so on is not doing it. So that means that are using Revit, ArchiCAD, IFC, then you will compare apples with pears and so on. So that is what we've been looking at. As I said in the project, a lot of reading. But now we're practical. So at the end of the day today, we're going to be practical to show you live how this will affect you. So the question is, who cares? Who cares? The answer to that is that you absolutely care if you're afraid of losing momentum. So I sent out an email with these seminars. We sent out an email saying, do you want to become the new Nokia? And the answer is, and that's serious stuff, because I see that people, especially the big companies, will survive. Smaller companies, some of them will just not last. That's how it is, because there is a transaction going on. And it's going to be digitized processes, and everything is going to be connected in these processes. This is not starting in Norway, but this is going on now, especially in the UK, and it's going to happen also in France and Germany very, very soon. That means this year and next year. So they're implementing. So what happens with other countries when people actually can purchase volumes, like you can take 35 buildings and start to purchase automatically down the value chain? What happens? What happens with you? Are you ready to do such things? So a lot of the ways that we're working today will change. So we work with especially contractors in the UK, where we see that they are thinking not the same as we're used to at all. They're thinking more like, I would say, technological people, thinking how can we solve these technological issues, and how should these processes be. And that means that you have to shift around. And why does that happen? It's because of these initiatives going on in Europe. So, to go to the core, today everything is in PDFs. So we communicate. So people spend time to describe things in PDF. Of course, there is supporting software that interacts. You have different kind of systems that do calculations and so on. So of course there is a lot of tools. But with BIM, this is a process. This is not you having a system. This is everyone interacting. So you have a common data environment to communicate, and everything happens seamlessly. So then you need proper, good data so that you're doing it right, so that you can communicate down the value chain what you're talking about. So this is just the example we use to explain. We call it the window example. Early on in design, you only need like the width, height. That's it. You don't need anything else. But as time goes by, this is the REBA stages. This is the Norwegian Stegnormen, which is now been implemented. It's been adjusted a little bit, and this has been worked with Big 21. And it's actually to agree upon time. What should the architects actually deliver with design? And this is the agreement between two partners on what to deliver. To have an agreement. This is what I want. This is what I want you to deliver. That's important. And then you can have a good process. But if two partners actually don't electronically know what to communicate, what happens? So what kind of documents? So this is happening today, but it's done manually every time. Every time it's done manually. So I went to San Francisco and talked to Google. They have set up, there's a company, a spin-off company called Flux, and I asked them, how do you envision designs in the future? Yeah, we work with designs, so we call it building seeds. So I said, yeah, okay, so how does it work? And I saw a video, so I went to them, asked them, and said, it would take us approximately to lift in all the building regulations, how high you can build, how many square meters, and so on. So we're taking in all this data. Then you can put a building seed. And then within 15 seconds, we've done 70%. 70%. That's their technological view. And I said, how many are architects? Architects? No one. So you're only technological people? Yeah, technological people, yeah. And I thought, wow, something is happening here. And they said that, so what is the time frame? Their time frame is 10 years. 10 years, and they have a lot of money. So they have 10 years. So what happens now with this technology? I don't have the answer to that one. I just see what they do, and it's kind of exciting. But I do know that you have to have a process and you have to have an agreement on how to do stuff. In Europe, there is standards. This is not only in Europe, this is worldwide. You have standards. I'm amazed how many people that don't know standards. And to be frank with you, you don't know standards. You actually don't know standards because you don't know how it's built. I don't know how it's built because you have to be a professor. And you have to work with it every day to understand. And I'm learning so much every month and week about it. But everything surrounding us with the building is built upon standards. So there is an organization called Building Smart. Richard Petrie, he will come at lunchtime. He will talk about Building Smart. They have tried, market actors have tried to create common standards that will work between software providers to create good processes. These standards are named open standards. And in Norway, Anstein, in Building Smart Norway, he's leading that work. So the question is, do we need open standards or not? And this is a discussion we'll have, but without exchange, how can you actually... We're used to PDF, everyone uses PDF, but how can we exchange information, and how should these processes be built on a project? Shouldn't we have a common agreement on how to do that? That's the aim for these open standards. And now, there is work going on to make this a CEN standard. So it's called CEN 442, Building Information Modeling. And it's 3 standards. When they have meetings, I mean, all the big people in Europe attend. Everyone. Why? Because they will be affected. Everyone, every project, every country. This is money. This is the case. This is the future. This is how to exchange information. It's a standard. You have a standard of exchanging information and deciding how it will decide how we will build, how our processes are built. So the CEN standards, again, who knows about this? Maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 knows about it, and maybe some more have heard about it. So this is important stuff. So I'm talking to companies like Veidekke, NCC, and so on, and consulting, and I'm asking them, do you know what's going on? Do you know what's going on? Everyone is focused like this, what we're doing. Everyone looks at their systems, but how many actually looks up and see what's coming to us? This is coming to you. Like it or not, this is coming to you. This is just a picture showing what every project is doing every day. So this is what the project is doing every day, except that you don't have a standard way of doing it. This is the UK government setting up a national standard to be used in governmental projects. It's called a PASS standard, and there are many of it. This is shown in PASS 1192/2 and 3. And it's just a way of telling the market how to work. So it says that you have to have a common data environment. It says that you have different steps. It says that you have graphical model, non-graphical model, and you have documents. And it says that you're supposed to deliver things at the specific stages. I won't have time to go into this. I think Nick will talk more about it. This is part of our new ISO standards, TC59 SC13, which might already turn up as a CEN standard in 2017. So are the actors ready for this? Have they prepared? Have they set up their common data environment? Have they made their data requirements for all the projects before they start to build? I'll switch to Norwegian. Jeg har vært i møte med Statsbygg. Jeg har pratet med Statens vegvesen, Direktoratet for byggkvalitet. Jeg har forsøkt å spørre, har dere en felles strategi? Har dere noe felles som gjør at aktørene kan se noe samhandling? Og svaret mitt sånn inni meg da, det er nei, det har vi ikke. So, how can we create property and property sets for a window? It's a defined process where an expert panel decides no, yes, no, yes. And when they have agreed upon this data set, then, hello, all window manufacturers, this is the data. all merchants, this is the data. All contractors, this is the data. Start to communicate about windows. If anyone has any issues, there's a checkbox. You can add more data to these data requirements. You can ask these expert panel. This is a really, really, really good process. And it actually sets the agreed information to be exchanged on facility management information, technical information, environmental information, and so on. I'll come back to it on PDTs. This is the UK BIM task group. Nick, you will talk about that. This is Planbau 4.0. This is an agreement. Everyone in Germany, friends or not, have agreed to digitize. Pushed. Why? There is a competition. This is work we've been doing. This is co-builder work. So the Ministry of Justice came to us and said, we'd like to set up our data requirements. Can you help us? So we read tech in Norwegian. We read all the standards, and we looked at IFC and so on, Revit. And then we created their data requirements. So we created this part, asset information requirements. So this is now official. I've asked to show this. This is official, I think, within 2 weeks for the UK, and it will solve a lot, because then everyone will be told what to deliver on a project when it comes to asset information. What kind of information should I get on all these built assets? Then you need to BIMify your information. You need to get your information in. And where are the manufacturers? They have PDFs. Where are they? This is the big change. They need to change and lift information out to meet these Windows requirements. This is what I want. What kind of guarantee time and so on. And green data is very important. So we've done it with the product data and safety data sheets. Done it since 2001. So now in product exchange, we get a PDF on behalf of 3,200 companies. We copy out a data set to be used by the actors using the system. That takes us 1 hour per product. It's a lot of work. We've done it 40,000 times. So we have 3 people working with copy-paste. Lovely, but it needs to be done to digitize. Same things now. This is what's going on with information. Moving from PDF to data, so that you can calculate, ask, have better processes. This is the change. We've been supporting the Building Smart Data Dictionary heavily. Funded, worked, inputted, and if you ask Richard Petrie and Building Smart Norway, who have actually contributed a lot, this project has, and co-builder also. I'll come back to this. This is the Building Smart Data Dictionary under my product data template discussion. This is product data. So that means that based on the standards, I have a language which can be changed. I have a standard which is the same for all countries. I have an identifier for the product, a barcode. That's fine. Sometimes it's a serial number because it's an instance. It's one piece. This piece, so it's not get-in. It's a serial number. And then you have water tightness, dangerous substances, resistance to wind load. This is tech stuff. This is what we require for a window in Norway. You cannot deliver a window without have tested these things, or in Europe, many of the countries. Okay. At the end, we'll talk about it in practical terms, showing GoBIM, which we will open up now this week for the market. Product exchange, everything we've done there, all the updates means that you can check towards any specification. You can use product exchange to collect information and do checks Does it comply with my requirements? Organizational requirements, you could call it has many names, model view definitions, it has many names. But it's to set what you want. What kind of data do you want to collect? I want this data, then you have a system to actually collect it and check against. And then you can distribute the information seamlessly to systems. At the end of the day, we'll show you, we're working with Statsbygg in Norway, we're working to prove automated process when you purchase a window, that it automatically can be lifted into the model, so that the janitor or the guy actually doing that are working as a janitor or whatever, he can get the information. It has to flow directly from the manufacturer and to the janitor, without any contractor shouldn't have to do anything. That is done automatically. We'll come back to that. So this is the ProductInfoX project. I'm trying to reach your heart, because that's what we need. That's what we need. We need people to understand, because when you go outside here, if you have something here, this Fredenlund guy, maybe we should start to think someone has to start in Norway, because the government is not. The government is not. And they should absolutely do basic works to open this market for this digital strategy in Norway. Okay,